Hello once again, watchers of The Walking Dead. My name is Pell.
I'm knitting.
And today we are talking about Season 4, Episode 5 of The Walking Dead, entitled Internment. Now, there will be spoilers, obviously, from the entirety of this episode, so keep that in mind if you have not watched Season 5 or any of the fourth season yet. I would suggest watching those, catch up, and then come back to this video.
Even if you haven't seen the third season, go watch that.
Yeah.
And then come back, because there will probably be spoilers from the third season.
Yeah.
Especially in light of what happens in this episode.
Just be completely caught up before you watch this, pretty much. And then there will be an annotation for the last week's episode in the top area up here.
Somewhere. He hasn't decided where yet.
Well, it's going to be in the upper left. That's where I've always been putting them so far.
Well, you just said it's in the top somewhere, like just stood around in the air, so I
It's because I don't know where it's going to be, like, placed as to where I'm pointing.
It'll be over here.
Over here. Okay.
It'll be over here.
This section.
It's right here.
This area. Look at it. This was a very prison-centric episode. We saw very, very little of Daryl, Tyrese, Michonne, any of the people that we saw at the vet school getting all the supplies in the last episode. So this focused essentially on Herschel for a large majority of it. He was the central character, and we saw his struggle with taking care of all these people. One of the main conflicts that he deals with is having to
stab the dead bodies.
Yeah, stab the dead bodies, and we see him struggle with this throughout the entirety of the episode. He takes the bodies out of the infected area, which is probably smart, so the people don't see what will eventually become of them.
Even though they already know.
Yeah, they have a good idea, but he doesn't want to remind them more so than he has to. Anything you want to add to that?
I don't know, he couldn't remember the name of the episode this week, and so he had to go back and look, and I was just thinking about the alliteration of the names. So you have infected, isolation, something, and internment.
Yeah.
Internment. And so, I mean, all the last 4 episodes have had I names, and so I'm just like, I don't know, I find literary things interesting, and so I'll be interested to see if they keep going with the I names.
Do you have anything with like the episode itself that you want to add?
Of course.
What I meant.
Of course. So like, I guess we just really see Herschel struggling to be a leader. Like really, he's struggling to fulfill this leadership role and keep everyone alive as much as he can, and you kind of see him just really, I don't know, he works really, really hard in this episode to make sure people don't die, and yet he kind of knows it's inevitable.
Yeah.
And so I guess just the character generation, is that the word I'm looking for? Just the character growth with Herschel in this episode was kind of interesting, because it really focused on him. Like, the entire episode focused on him.
Yeah. One of the other things that the episode did touch on here and there is Rick and his decision to leave Karen behind. This wasn't as prominent in the episode as I was personally... Did I say Karen?
Yeah, you said Karen.
Okay, this wasn't as prominent, regardless to the episode, as I was really expecting it to be. I thought that the episode kind of revolved around it more, but it's only brought up once or twice in the whole episode. When Rick comes back, he's talking with Maggie, and she asks him, where's Karen? And Rick is honest with her, and he tells her, this is what happened. She killed these 2 people, and I thought she was no longer safe in the group itself, and so I let her go. She's fine. She's got a car, supplies, everything.
I'm kind of glad they actually had him be honest rather than hide it, because that takes it kind of back to the Rick-tatorship.
Yeah.
And we don't, I don't think it would be a good idea to take the storyline backwards to that. As in, we'd probably end up then seeing Rick at some point killed off, because I don't think they'd find a way to get him out of that again.
I don't think he would be killed off, because he's essentially the central character of the whole show.
But I mean, I think if they took it back to a Rick-tatorship, they'd probably end up having to kill him off, because there'd be no way to get him out of it. Or having him separate from the group, and then having two separate storylines.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think it's good that he told them, just because of the possibility of the whole thing blowing up in his face. Like, if Karen comes...
Carol.
Because if Carol comes... Why do I keep saying Karen? Because if Carol comes back, which I'm pretty sure she's going to be at some point, she would have told them, like, oh, this is what actually happened. He kicked me out. If, like, he told them that she got killed or something, it'd be kind of like, oh, hey.
She's dead. And then what do you know, she's knocking on the prison gate.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be interesting. So...
That makes me think of a song.
I'm not going to go...
I'm not going to sing it, but it makes me think of a song that my dad would start singing. Ignore me. My family's crazy. In a good way. Mom, if you're watching this, I promise it's in a good way.
But the episode's also very action-packed a lot of the time. About halfway through the episode, we have zombies that start showing up inside the hospital area because there's just too many people getting sick and getting killed off too quickly, and Herschel doesn't realize it, and before he knows it, the place is getting overrun with infected people, and it's essentially him and Glenn are the main ones that part kind of focuses on, because Glenn is essentially dying on the ground, and then Herschel's just trying to fight off all these people, and then the little girl, whose name escapes me, but she's...
I think it's Lucy.
Lucy. She was actually really smart with how she dealt with the whole thing, because she saw Glenn essentially on the ground, kind of gasping for air, and she saw a zombie, the one that they were trying to save with the breath thing.
The intubator?
The intubator, that word, I don't know things. And
You gotta watch more ER.
I do, I haven't seen that, so. But she lures him away, pretty much, kind of goes, it was kind of predictable that she would kind of fall down and it would kind of try to get her. And so that part was a little given foresight. I feel like I'm talking a lot, you need to talk more.
I don't know, this episode was really pretty straightforward. Like, there wasn't a lot of plot twist until the end, and we're not going to talk about that yet because I'm terrible with spoilers and I'm not allowed to.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I feel like it was pretty straightforward. So Herschel's in the isolation ward. He's trying to help people. The other doctor who's in the isolation ward, whose name I can't remember, dies and turns into a zombie. A lot of other people die and turn into zombies, and they're struggling. And Herschel starts struggling with the idea that he now has to kill these zombies in front of these sick people, who already know that that's what they're going to turn into if they die, but he really just doesn't want to remind them. And so Glenn's also kind of dying, and Maggie ends up getting into the isolation ward because she hears the gunshots and she just can't take it anymore, because as we know, she's pregnant and engaged to Glenn. And so she ends up running into the hospital ward and trying to help. And right as things are getting really, truly terrible in the isolation ward, the fence around the prison is broken down by the zombies.
Yeah, that was a very, very interesting scene when we have Carl and Rick basically fending off all these zombies, because Rick begins to realize that his son is not a kid anymore. His son is a killer who is a fighter, and he knows how to do this stuff, and I think he begins to see Carl as kind of more of an equal in that sense, because he's not a kid who needs to be protected. He's taken out zombies just as well, if not better, than his father. And Rick is starting to realize that. And I think he saw bits and pieces of it in the last few seasons, but this is where it really comes to fruition, because Carl he's using all these skills, and he's not abusing them or just killing because he can kill. He's doing it because he needs to defend the prison and everything like that. And it's kind of they don't really voice anything between the two of them, but it is kind of a growing point between the two of them. And then another thing I just want to bring up really quick, when Herschel's talking with the other doctor who's extremely sick, the guy brings up the idea of saving the people who can be saved, and then just kind of letting those who are too far along the line or have very, very little chance of living be lost. And it's just a really interesting concept, and something that is dealt with in the show immensely, because it kind of needs to be dealt with, because there are people that are just not going to be coming back, and that needs to be accepted. And that's also kind of I can see it being an issue in even the real world society, like people that are like so far along that is it worth spending resources on their health, or should we focus on people that can be saved much more assuredly?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's especially a hot topic when it comes to medical care, just because they're talking about euthanasia.
Yeah.
So a mercy killing, to put it in layman's terms.
Yeah.
And Herschel said, we're not going to do it. We'll only shoot those who really are gone.
Yeah.
And that's what ends up happening as the isolation ward is threatened to be overrun. And I did find the zombies breaking down the fence interesting. I think it kind of was just to show that the situation really is truly precarious. Like, they're barely hanging on.
Yeah. It seems like it's all hunky-dory, but it's really...
And then I think that's...
hanging by a sliver.
That also kind of emphasizes the importance of the meds and Daryl and his crew coming back.
Yeah.
Kind of the importance of the strength in numbers, so to speak. And then
towards the end, there's very, I know, so I'm just continuing. There's this, like, there was a chance that Glenn was going to die. Essentially, he's coughing up blood. He's essentially in the...
choking.
Yeah, he's choking on his own blood. And I personally thought that they were going to kill him off in this episode.
I would be super pissed if they did.
Yeah, like her and a lot of people would have been mad. But I kind of would have applauded the show for it, because I like it when shows take people by surprise and kill off main characters if it fits within the context of the show. Glenn got sick, and so why should he survive when a lot of other people are dying so quick? It kind of fits with the logic. He doesn't die, however. He survives.
But we don't know for sure if he will survive, because he's just... They get the meds into him, so they come back with like amoxicillin, penicillin, just basically any kind of psyllin-based drug, and they are basically just shooting everyone full of it so that they don't get sick.
Drugs are good.
And so at the end of the episode, we find out that he's doing better, but he's not healthy yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, they still kind of left it open to that possibility.
Yeah, but he's breathing on his own, so it means that he is recovering. He's not just going off the incubator anymore. So that's good.
But we don't know for sure that the drugs are truly working yet.
Yeah.
Because no one's been cured, so to speak.
I feel like this will be the beginning of the recovery of everyone, because it is getting closer to the mid-season finale. Which I assume will be in 3 weeks. I don't know for sure.
I think that would put it about 3 times.
Yeah, because it's gonna be 8 episodes and not another 8 episodes. So yeah, I would see this being the little illness being just for the mid-season finale, it being cured by the finale, and then we get to the governor. Because at the end,
guess
is there
who's
anything
back?
Yep.
Hey, you brought him up first.
I know I did, and then I wanted wanted to see if there's anything
Nope.
else that we want to cover. Nothing else we
Nope.
want to cover.
I think we covered everything.
Oh, we see Herschel kind of go gung-ho a little bit towards the end
It's
of it.
kind of funny,
Yeah,
actually.
it is.
It's great.
Because we have Daryl who finds out that Glenn is
Okay.
sticking through it, and he calls him a tough son of a bitch, and then he also calls Herschel a tough son of a bitch, and Herschel's like, I don't even remember what he says. He's like, yes I am, or something
Yeah.
like that, something along those lines, and it's just kind of funny. And then he goes on an outing with Michonne and everything like that, and it's kind of a Herschel in victory mode.
It was
in a
great.
sense, yeah. But now we will get to the governor, because at the very end of the episode, we see a glimpse of the governor looking at the prison, and we don't know at this point how much influence he has had, if he's been sabotaging things from the outside, or if he just has been watching them for a time where he can strike, or what's happening with that. So it will be a very, very exciting next few episodes to see if they're just going to have this cameo in this episode and then like have him show up in full in the mid-season finale, or what will happen with that. So
Do you remember a couple episodes back where we see at the beginning somebody feeding the zombies?
yeah, but he would have to be inside the prison for that too.
I know, but I think it's totally possible that he could be sabotaging them in some way like that, like maybe clipping some of the ties on the fence so that it's not as strong and so it starts to fall over, or finding a way to lead some of the zombies to the fence. So I can completely see the possibility of him trying to sabotage it, and I think he's really still after the prison. He wants it for himself.
Yeah, he also has a vendetta against Rick's group and Michonne in general. So
They kind of showed him for the crazy psychopath he was, but he doesn't show up with the group of guys that he left.
Yeah.
With.
My guess is he was just kind of scoping it out. They could have been in the background for all we knew.
My guess is he killed them.
No, because they were the only ones that he left alive after season 3. Because he killed off a good chunk of the people that came with him.
He killed off everyone who came with him except for 2 people.
Yeah. And then the one person who ended up being alive that he missed. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch and see where the rest of the season goes. The season continues to surprise me because I keep getting more and more interested in it. Like I said before, I didn't expect the season to be that good because it was going away from the comic story. But I'm impressed and I'm enjoying it, and I think that they're doing really well with what they have so far. So
it'll be interesting. We don't see how Daryl reacts yet to the news that Carol's gone. I just realized my name's rhymed. It's been a long week. Don't even give me that.
It's a Monday.
Don't even give me that.
It's a Monday.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to the news that Carol's gone. Because at the end we just see Rick pulling him aside, saying he needs to talk to him.
Well, Herschel pulling him aside.
No.
Yeah, Herschel pulls him aside. It's like, you need to talk to Rick.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so basically he finds out that he needs to go talk to Rick, but we don't really see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking they'll probably put that like in the beginning, and we'll probably see Daryl get really, really super pissed.
Yeah.
And probably go look for her.
I hope not, because then it's just going to be off the show for a little bit, and then it's just going to be annoying. And then it's going to be just like them searching for Sophia for a few episodes, just like season 2. Which would be kind of ironic. They're searching for Carol now instead of Sophia. So, anything else you want to add? Or?
Do you think they're going to do a split storylines and show us where Carol goes, or do you think they're just done?
I think they'll just have her show up again at some point. I don't think they're going to do 2 stories.
I think they will have her show up again at some point, because she finally got her name in the opening credits.
Yeah.
And so I would think they would bring her back if they put her name in the opening credits.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere, I don't remember where, but they said that she's like still in the credits for like future episodes, and they usually take people's names off when they've been killed off. So, yeah, I would guess unless we see people die, they're not dead. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why I have my whole conspiracy theory about the Avengers. Which is a whole other thing that we are not getting into right now.
Oh my god.
I promise.
Totally off topic.
I know. But again, if you don't see people die, they're not dead.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, this has been an interesting episode. Thank you for watching the last 2 episodes a lot, because episode 4 is at about 100 views, and I think episode 3 is at like 160 or something, which is very strange for my channel.
Can somebody please tell us what we're doing right? We're really curious. Please.
Well,
Should I throw in another one? Please tell
apparently
us.
the episode, according to Christian, the episode Please Stand By that you were, the discussion that you were on earlier has like had a lot more views or listens than usual. So
Is it me? Is that why you guys like these? Really, seriously, we're honestly curious.
yeah, should I have her in like all my reviews or something? Will that get subscribers and
I don't know if I have time
views
for
and
that.
stuff? Yeah, you know, that'd be fun though. Alright, so like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely, and we will see you next week with episode 6, the title of which I don't know at this point. So,
He'll stick it in here in a box down here.
No, I won't.
No, he won't.
No, I won't. That's a lie. She lies. She's not the doctor, but she still lies. As
I
always,
think I need a lot more Doctor Who knowledge to get that reference.
yeah.
but okay.
No. My name's Nick Pell.
I'm no longer knitting.
And as always, my good people, keep on watching.